Hi everyone, I'm on a dog walk and I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to sort of talk about some of the latest haunting situations in my house. And the reason that I'm doing it out here is because I've said a few times before that I don't really like talking about the ghost situations whilst I'm in my house. So I'm in a field, as you can see. As I've said before, I live very rurally, so I'm just walking near my house. And I've been asked about if anything has happened lately and if anything is going on. And what I'll say to that is, things have happened. So basically, since lockdown, there has been a massive increase in activity, really. And again, there's nothing huge. There's no absolute huge moment where I've just been wowed. I haven't caught anything on camera again. I think the last video that I uploaded was when I had caught the door opening behind me whilst I was filming a book review video. I haven't caught anything on camera since then. There's just been a whole lot of just random events, really. But the main thing that has really sort of offended me, shall I say, is that my toddler is now just 2, and he has started to notice things. I think eventually we're going to have to move. I've said before, I don't really mind if anything decides to haunt me or scare me. I mean, I don't love it, I'm not for it, but I mean, if something scares me, then fair enough, I'm a big girl, I can take it. But I don't like it when things happen that involve my children. And there's been too many instances now where something has happened where my children have been involved. And I really do think that we're going to end up having to move, to be honest. So recently, as I said, we've had a bit of an influx, a little bit more activity. And I think it's because everybody's been at home because we've all been in lockdown. And it's just random things such as I had some plates. I bought loads of really nice granny chic style plates, you know, with all the flowers and things on them, sort of old design. And I like to keep those for special occasions. So if I do like a really fancy spread, I'll often do it on all my pretty fancy floral plates and things. And so that they're not sort of within constant use, I keep them stacked up and keep them underneath my bed. And they are stacked in accordance to size. So the big plates go on the bottom, obviously. I mean, you know how things stack. If you hear the sounds of what sounds like something dying, it's my pug. He's going crazy. He's having a great time to himself. So if you hear snoring and all sorts of things, it's not me. So I had them all stacked up, and there was this sort of a hum. An electrical hum is the best thing you could think of. It just had that sort of sound that it was electrical. So I really thought I'd left something on. So as I was sort of waking up and thinking, what is that? And trying to identify the sound to myself, I noticed that it got louder and it sort of got closer to me. And all of a sudden, the hum was really loud underneath my bed. And then there was this almighty crash. And all of the plates underneath my bed had just sort of spread out across the floor. Nothing was broken, but there was just this, it was so loud, and it was about midnight, so I mean everything's quiet at that time anyway, and it just crashed all across the floor. And then we've had a lot of occasions where random things have just arrived in the room. So we'll be sitting on the floor just sort of putting away the puzzles and things that my kids have played with, and then a ball will roll into the room from the other room. And I mean, there's nothing else in that room. There's no reason why the ball would have randomly just rolled in. And I'm not talking about a tiny little trickle. I'm talking about the ball rolls as if someone's just, you know, thrown it like that, throwing the ball into the room. I apologize, my hand keeps getting in shot. This is heavy. So as I say, we've had a lot of things like that happen. Nothing worth making a whole video about. And that's another reason I just haven't been back on. Just lots of random things. We're still having things go missing all of the time. I'll leave a book on the side that I'm halfway through reading, needing to review, and it disappears and it re-arrives back again in a couple of days' time, and it'll appear in the kitchen, high up on the benches where my kids can't reach. Just stupid things like that are just really random, really random and weird. But the thing that really has offended me, and the thing that has kept me from talking about my ghostly situation for a while, is that something horrible happened to my toddler. And since then I've just sort of had a very sour taste in my mouth, really, about the whole situation. And it's really annoying me, because Well, I'll just tell you. I had put both my children to bed and I was sitting downstairs and I was just reading a book. And it was sort of going on to about 10 o'clock at night, and I was thinking about getting ready to go to bed and take the dogs out for a last wee and things. And there was a bang. There was a bang that came from the upstairs, which isn't out of the ordinary. So often when I hear bangs and footsteps or doors shutting and things, a lot of the time nothing has actually happened. There's just noises of doors shutting and things in my house, but they're not actually, nothing's happening, you know. So I didn't really pay great attention to the bang until it was accompanied by a high-pitched scream that was coming from my baby, my 2-year-old. And obviously I jumped off the sofa and ran up the stairs to see what had happened. And my son still sleeps in my room, and he had managed to get on the other side of the room. Now, normally when he wakes up in the night, I have everything off and quiet on a night time so I can read. And so as soon as he wakes up, I leave all my doors open and things so he can hear. And as soon as he wakes up, he normally shouts "mama," and I'll normally just go straight up the stairs to see what he's up to. But he's never even sat up. He just lies there and shouts "mama" until I come up and sort of soothe him and do whatever. But on this particular day, he wasn't shouting "mama." He was absolutely screaming. And when I went up the stairs to sort of see what had happened, he was on the other side of the room to where he should be. He was on the other side of the room. He was sat up and he was screaming, and it was like an upset cry. And I picked him up, and he can communicate, he can talk quite a bit. And I said, "What's the matter?" And he said, I left bed, nasty man. And I said, "What?" I left bed, nasty man. I said, "You got up of bed because there was a nasty man?" And he said, yeah, nasty man. And I thought, is he dreaming? And I said, "Where was the nasty man?" And he pointed to my bed, saying that he was there. And I said, "What was he doing?" And by this point I was obviously really freaked out, because I mean, things had been happening. We'd had things like the balls rolling into the rooms and stuff, but I mean, this was just horrible. And I said, "What was he doing?" And he said, "Looking at me." And I said, "He was looking at you? Where?" "Sitting on bed looking at me." And I mean, I was petrified, so I picked him up and I carried him out the room, and I said, "It's okay, it was just a dream, it's fine, it's absolutely fine." But there was a weird smell in the room. There was just this weird smell. It sort of smelled a bit like someone had been smoking in the room, and no one in my family smokes. And we never have smoked, so there's no reason for there to ever have been the smell of smoke in the house. But there was a smell of like cigarette smoke in the bedroom, and so I took him out of the room, and it was just horrible. And he kept telling me that the nasty man was sitting on my bed and that the nasty man was looking at him. I've sort of thought before that it's like a male energy. It feels like a male energy to me. I don't know why, it just does. And I mean, that was just enough to sort of make me feel upset, very upset, obviously. I mean, any parents out there, I'm sure you can imagine the same sort of thing. You don't want that. You don't want anything upsetting your child. So from there now, every single night when we go to bed, he insists on checking if the nasty man is there. And he goes up the stairs, he goes, "No nasty man, just me, just mummy." And I'm like, "Yes, no nasty man, just you, just mummy, no nasty man." And he always does this thing where he looks at my bed, and he points to sort of this area in the bed every day, the same area where he thinks that the nasty man was sat. He points to it, and then he goes up to the ceiling, and then he almost looks like he's looking on the ceiling for something to see if it's there, looking down. And that, I don't know why that scared me more than most things. Where's my dog off? Barry! Where are you going? He's had enough. He doesn't want to see the nasty man. Here he comes. Yeah, so I mean, that's why I haven't been back on, and that's why I haven't really mentioned it, because I'm fine with it scaring me. I mean, I'm not, but I mean, I'm not upset by it scaring me, you know. I'm just a little bit sort of inconvenienced, but not to the point of where I feel majorly threatened. But that really threatened me, because that's not the first time. There's been an occasion when my daughter's lamp threw across the room when she was little, and there has been a few things like my daughter had this jewelry box that's shattered on the floor beside my son, and there's just been a few things where I just think, you know, I don't know whether to do anything about it, because I don't want to antagonize the situation. And I know before a few of you have said, "Why haven't you tried to communicate with it?" But I just don't want to do that, because I don't want to upset the situation again. I don't want to get anybody in, because I mean, I don't know whether they actually are qualified to do it, because I mean, how do you prove that you're qualified to do anything? It could make things worse, do you know? And I just don't want things to get worse, because like I say, there are times where there is nothing happens and we have a lovely time and the house is fine. But when things do happen, they're pretty extreme sometimes. And I don't want things to get any worse. I don't want to end up like The Exorcist or something like that. So I mean, like I say, that's where we are right now. And I mean, I do think it's going to end up in the point where we're going to have to move in the future. So I hope this video sees you all doing well, and I will get back to my normal sort of bookish videos in the next video. And I'm sorry about the long rambly video. I can see now that this has took me 16 minutes to talk about, so I'm going to have to obviously edit that down, because no one wants to listen to me ramble for 16 minutes. So I'm going to go edit this and put it up in the next day or two, and I will speak to you all soon. Bye for now.